Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll present you with a build and team guide for Ju Fufu. But before I talk about her build, I would like to have a quick overview of what she does. Basically, Ju Fufu is a fire stun character that has great damage capabilities and also does her attacks off field. Specifically, she has a passive buff that boosts her entire team critical damage. Also, while this passive is active, she will also gain an impact boost for herself. Ju Fufu also has a might and momentum system. Might will be built up every 4 seconds from her basic attack after shock, and it's also gained from her X special skill, ultimate and dash attack. And when I have 100 might, which is 50% of her bar, she will automatically activate her off-field chain attack, which is also counted as an aftershock. And if she has momentum, she'll consume it to also trigger an off-field dash attack aftershock. Momentum will also come from her ultimate, X special skill and assist follow-up. That's why it's very important that you get those defensive assists with Ju Fufu so you can charge more momentum stacks. And spending these momentum stacks will shorten the cooldown between the aftershocks, so she'll be able to perform her stuff more often. And lastly, we'll also have additional ability, which increases your team max decibel cap by 1000, so you'll have up to 4000 of decibel. This is very useful because you can kind of like hold on ultimates a bit longer and not waste decibels. It smoothens out rotations, but on top of that, you also will gain 300 decibels whenever an attack or rapture agent uses their ultimate. So additional ability is quite good, and the requirement for it, it's basically attack or a rapture agent. That's why it's very likely she's gonna work great for many upcoming rapture-based teams as well. Now let's talk about her skill level up priority. You will want to level up her chain attack, assist into special attacks. These 3 things are most important. You should also level dodge and basic attack to some degree as well. But also don't forget to level up her core skill enhancement all the way up as well. And now let's talk about her build. But before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. And now let's continue with the video. So now let's talk about Ju Fufu main stats. For drive disc 6, you will want attack percentage. For drive disc 5, you'll want attack percentage as well. And lastly, drive disc 6, it's going to be impact. Yes, Ju Fufu wants a lot of attack percentage and attack because she has a critical damage buff that will scale off her attack up to 3400 attack points with a minimum of 2800 attack. You will not necessarily be able to reach 3400 attack without her signature V engine, and even if you don't reach it all the way up, she will still provide plenty of critical damage buff for your entire team, so you don't have to worry about this one. As for her substats, it's very important to get enough crit rate to push for 50% critical rate or more because of this new set, King of the Summit. We'll talk about this one very soon. As for the next stat, it's going to be attack percentage, which is very important for her so you can get that critical damage buff up as much as possible. And lastly, flat attack / critical damage. Yes, you can still build critical damage on her because she will be doing a significant amount of damage, but we still highly recommend to prioritize getting plenty of attack. Try to snipe pieces that have critical rate, critical damage and attack percentage on it. Now let's go over the drive disc set options. As already mentioned, King of the Summit, this is the new set for stunners. It's amazing. The do set piece provides 6% days for your attacks, but more importantly, the 4 set piece bonus if it's equipped by a stun character, and whenever you use X special attack or chain attack, it will increase critical damage of all your team by 15%. And also when the equipper has 50% or more critical rate, you'll also get a nice 15% critical damage on top. So this is gonna be 30% in total. And also do remember that Ju Fufu also provides critical damage boost with her own kit as well. So we'll have plenty of critical damage boost for the entire team. Lots of damage overall. As for the rest of 4-piece options, I don't recommend anything else. King of the Summit is literally King of the Summit. It's the best of the best for her. As for 2-piece options, you can easily go with something like Astral Voice if you're requiring more attack percentage on her. You could also use something like Hormone Punk, which also provides 10% attack boost. However, if you want better stunning capabilities, like let's say you want to stun enemies faster, then Shockstar Disco 2-piece set will work exceptionally well because of that 6% impact increase. However, if you are lacking critical rate for your King of the Summit set bonus effect to be activated, could go double piece Woodpecker Electro just to help you reach that 50%. Now let's talk about Ju Fufu V-Engine options. She actually has quite many options to use. Of course, her best slot is going to be her signature V-Engine Roaring Furnace. This one provides 713 base attack, which will allow you to push much easier to that 3400 attack to maximize her critical damage buff, specifically because it also has advanced stat of 30% attack. As for the passive itself, it increases your equiper's X special, chain attack, and ultimate damage by 28%. And also, whenever you use a chain attack or ultimate that deals fire damage, the damage dealt by the entire squad team will be increased by 10%. It stacks up 2 times. And do remember that her chain attack, the one that functions also off-field, will trigger this effect as well. Also, do know that the trigger is once per use of a skill. That means only one instance of the effect can exist in the same squad. So that means you have to do chain attack and ultimate if you want to get both stacks, and not just double chain attack to get the 20% damage boost. Then we have also other S-rank options such as Blazing Laurel. This one is also going to work relatively well on Ju Fufu. It does provide impact advanced stats, so it's going to help you with faster stunning, but more importantly, it boosts fire and ice DPS teams. You pretty much can easily use this on your Ju Fufu if you play her with ice and fire teams. If you don't, then you're not going to get necessarily much out of this V-Engine. Now let's talk about more free-to-play friendly options. Hellfire Gears, you can still select it from the selector if you wish. This V-Engine has a relatively high base attack stat. It is higher than A-rank stats. Also does 80% impact advanced stat, which is also quite useful. However, the passive itself won't be up all the time because you have to perform X special attacks, but nevertheless, this is still a good option that you can choose for her. However, if you don't have Hellfire Gears or you don't want to use selector on this one, there are of course some A-rank options as well, such as good old reliable Steam Oven. This one will provide more impact for your Ju Fufu, faster stance, and also energy regen, so she can use her X special attack more often. That's pretty much it for her A-rank options. Of course, if you want, you could also try with Precious Fossilized Core, but personally, I believe Steam Oven is gonna have more all-around use. But still, if you have this one built, feel free to use it if you want. Now let's talk about Ju Fufu team options. She is a stunner that can work in all kinds of teams, from Rapture teams or attack type based teams. So she can be slotted in quite many teams, but I'll focus a bit more on the better teams that you can get more out of her, such as Yishuan team with Pan Yi-Hu. This team is gonna work really good for her. You can also play Ju Fufu with Evelyn and Astra Yao. Yes, you can technically use Ju Fufu over Lighter for Evelyn. However, Lighter is still better than Ju Fufu for Evelyn. It will provide more for her. However, if you don't want Lighter for whatever reason, you can easily use Ju Fufu with your Evelyn, and it's gonna work fine, because at the end of the day, Lighter additional ability has not been updated, and he's not necessarily gonna work that well with upcoming Rapture units. Meanwhile, Ju Fufu is a very safe option in terms of that. Like, the likelihood of her working with upcoming Rapture units is relatively high. Then we also have Sambi team. You can also play Sambi with Ju Fufu. Ju Fufu can be used here instead of Trigger if you happen to not have Trigger and you don't plan to get Trigger on a rerun. However, if you plan to get the Trigger on a rerun and you have Sambi in your account, I would just recommend to wait it out. But nevertheless, it is something that you can play. And of course, the third teammate for this type of team, it's none other than Astra. And then we have another pretty good option team that you can use Ju Fufu with, would be Hugo Vlad team. So Hugo Vlad plus Lighter with Ju Fufu can work relatively well. So if you don't have Lycaon available in your account, let's say you didn't use the selector to get him, you could easily use Ju Fufu here instead of Lycaon. But in terms of pull value efficiency, I wouldn't really recommend getting Ju Fufu just for this type of team if you already have Lycaon. I would recommend personally going Ju Fufu to enhance your Rapture existing teams and potentially also for future stuff. But just as a reminder, there is always a risk that in the future Ju Fufu might not work that well with certain Rapture units as what we think she will, but the likelihood of happening is very high. But just as a warning, anything can happen in the future. Smile. I would also like to have a quick section for Mindscapes. Let's go quickly over this stuff as well. Her M1 is relatively good. It provides 12% critical rate boost, and also you'll start immediately with 100 might at the start of the fight. And also whenever Ju Fufu chain attack hits an enemy and that target is stunned, the damage multiplier within that stun will be increased by 35%, lasting for 30 seconds. So this is a very powerful M1. Effectively, it's gonna boost Ju Fufu quite significantly. Then we have her M2, which provides 22% critical damage for the entire team, and also you will get 3 points of momentum on your Ju Fufu whenever any character activates an ultimate. This one, it's all right. I think it's quite expensive, and if you really want to delve into Mindscapes, I would say personally M1 seems to be like a good stopping point. But I'll also quickly go over M4 and M6, I guess. M4, when Ju Fufu is in Tiger or state, her critical damage is increased by 35%, so basically more personal damage increase. And lastly, M6, 30% chain attack damage increase for Ju Fufu, and multiplier increase on her spin attack. Basically, it improves more of her personal damage. Once again, just as a disclaimer, I don't really recommend going for Mindscapes. And of course, you can also get this Mindscapes, specifically M1, on her rerun. By that time, you'll certainly know how much you like this character and if you still keep playing this character. Smile. Now also let's have a good old Bangboos section. The best one is going to be Bellion. If you get 3 copies of Bellion, you will also reduce the required Yonkoi Summit characters by 1. So this Bangboo will have its additional ability active just by using Ju Fufu within your team. They do contribute a decent amount of damage, but more importantly, I guess, days accumulation. But even if you don't have Bellion, don't sweat about it. You can use other typical options such as Snap. This guy will still provide decent, good damage boost for your team. However, do note if you're using something like Snap, they don't provide any days accumulation. So if you're looking for something that can kind of help you stun faster, then obviously Bellion would be the way to go. Or even some other Bangboos that are more like on the offensive end of things. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this Ju Fufu guide. If you have any questions or like to add anything yourself, feel free to write it within the comments down below. Smile, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Ciao.